Hello and welcome, everyone. We are just getting started here, and the plan is to write some good code today. And I notice Ace Flames here talking in chat. Yeah, as far as I know, there's not any slowdown on my end. We don't have any dropped frames just yet, so probably stream lagging on your end unless a whole bunch of people report it. Blub, Ace Flames here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And anybody else who's lurking around in chat, welcome as well. We are just getting started here, and I will go ahead and say if anyone here is new, welcome. My name is Brendan, and this is DevChatter. And on this channel, we write a lot of code together, we talk about code, we have fun and talk in chat about different programming-related things. We have people of varying skill and experience levels, and we're all here to learn more about programming and have fun. So, we're going to go ahead and get started. As I mentioned in the title of this video, and probably most places that I posted it, we are going to be doing a review of a pull request. So we got a nice pull request that came in that I want to talk about, and it is from Blub. And interestingly, the two people in chat right here are the ones that I want to talk about. So Blub sent us in this one, which is along the same lines of what we were working on at the end of the last stream. Essentially, we were realizing that we're going to need to change how we use our automation system in order to use Hangfire. So the way that Hangfire works, and sort of what we were adjusting to, is the fact that Hangfire takes the scheduled task that you're trying to do and it serializes it into the database. So we were taking a look at the database entries last time to see what it was serializing. And the problem is when it runs across a type that it needs to make, it attempts to resolve that dependency using its own IOC. And so the problem that we were running into is that it keeps trying to insert string values and things like that. The two ways that I can think of that we could resolve that are either taking a variable route. So Hangfire, as I understand it, has the ability to accept variables. Alternately, we could make sure that the values getting serialized are always simple classes that could just get recreated using serialization and don't have any dependencies that would need to be resolved. So essentially simplifying the objects that we put into Hangfire. And either one of those approaches would solve it nicely. My guess is that Blub took what we had and made it work with the way that Hangfire works, which is awesome. So I want to take a look at that, confirm that that's the approach that Blub took, and we will start from there. Now, the reason I mentioned that both people I wanted to talk about were here in chat already is that the reason we were adjusting this is because we want to make Ace Flameseer's Deal or No Deal game work. So we adjusted our entire structure of our system recently. We essentially redid the underlying layer of our bot. So this is our chatbot project, if you didn't pick up on that, based on that name right there being our chatbot. So the idea is that we used to be running as a console application, and we decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and switch over to an ASP.NET application. When we did that, we said, hey, let's throw out our old simple loop. And now that the simple loop is out of the equation, we're going to use a more complex automation system that's actually designed for doing background work in an ASP.NET application. The one we went with is called Hangfire. And so the challenge is that we had some bugs in it. So when we went to go and bring in the Deal or No Deal game that Ace Flameseer made, we need to update it in order to work with our new system. And so we could go to Ace Flameseer and be like, hey, yeah, you know that code you wrote? Yeah, you need to fix the bugs before you can merge in. Well, actually, the bug's on our end. So we're going to do that first, and then as soon as we do, we should be able to confirm that the Deal or No Deal game works as we expect and bring it in. So, as a quick bit of intro, for anyone who doesn't know, all the code that we have, that we do on stream here, is pushed out to GitHub at github.com/devchatter. You'll find it there. I just linked it in the chat. And then, additionally, the way that I linked it is by using the bot that we're actually building in chat. So it does a variety of things, including playing various games with us. So, for example, I can start up a Hangman game. Now, Hangman's actually going to work fine because there is no automation task to fail there. And so that's why that's not in there. Ace Flames here, we actually had the D&D, the Deal or No Deal game running in our previous stream. And, hey Greendorf, welcome. So, on Tuesday, so if you watch that video, which speaking of which, anybody who's new here, we do have there's a video button up top, and you can actually check out our archives of all of our old videos there. And if you don't find the video in there, that's because Twitch will eventually expire old videos, and if you want to find anything from the early part of the stream, you can actually check those out on YouTube. So just on a regular basis, I have more videos that are showing up on YouTube, and I just schedule them to go out one a day every once in a while. So roughly keeping pace with what is disappearing off of Twitch. Because for the most part, I want to have one source to find any given video. I don't want people going to both YouTube and Twitch and being like, oh, this video's in both places. So there's one spot for each one for the most part. There might be a little bit of overlap where it's either missing from one or it's in both places, but that's my goal, at least for now. Okay, so let's jump into that pull request that we are already looking at. And Brendan, you might say, what do you mean we're already looking at? Well, what I did right before I started the stream was I grabbed the pull request from Blub that's right here. So the nice thing is, if you're running GitHub Desktop, which is the tool that I've got right here, it has a tab for branches and a tab for pull requests. So I can go ahead and grab his pull request, which is nice. So then when I run it, it runs this site, which is the one that Blub gave us. So, first thing I want to test. I want to try a rock, paper, scissors one. So the rock, paper, scissors game that we have here is our... essentially the way the game works is you type in RPS or you type in RPS rock or something like that. What did it give me? It randomly assigned me rock. Perfect. And Blub also chose rock. So if the automation piece is working as we expect it to, then what should happen is after a little while, the bot should warn us that there's only a little bit of time left to join the game. Once it gives that warning, we then have, say, like I think it's 30 seconds to join, and then it should complete the game of rock, paper, scissors. And complete in this case means that the bot will choose its choice of either rock, paper, or scissors. And again, it plays against each of us. So think of this kind of like you're in a casino-style game. So it's you against the bot. So knowing that I chose rock and that Blub chose rock doesn't mean you need to choose paper. Because if the bot chooses scissors, we all win. So... And I thought I talked long enough for it to show up. So we might not have it yet. So let's take a look. And then we're going to take a look at the code, too. Actually, let me nuke all of these old things. Not sure what these are, but let's delete them. Delete them all. Oh, actually, there's one saying 30 seconds left to choose scissors, so maybe I didn't wait long enough. Either way, it shouldn't be in the retries, because it shouldn't have failed. And I have this in here twice. I'll have to look into why this one messed up here. But we apparently have something scheduled to go. Oh, there it is. Hey, cool. Worked perfectly. Nice job, Blub. Fantastic. That is good. So, that piece works. A good example I realize would be this. I'm starting a new quiz game. And I do quiz join. Thought there was supposed to be a message telling us that the quiz game was started. Yeah, Ace Flames here. We tried it on stream, but our scheduled tasks were not working just yet. So that's why we had to hold off on What is this one? Invalid operation string. Okay, I still don't know what that one is. Oh, sweet, there it is. You only have 30 seconds left to join the quiz game. Perfect. Yeah, Ace Flameseer. I'm hoping that it works well too. We will see, though. Let me open up the Hangfire automation system. So this is what Blub changed. I did actually look at this slightly, and there are a couple of things I want to change about it. It's really good, Blub. Oh, wait. Hang on, here's the quiz. Here's the quiz. Which one? What is it? It's... Is it B? I think it's... no one answered in time. Int C, int D equals 3. It was A. Well, there you go. See, I failed my own quiz. That's not really one of the intended quiz questions. We didn't actually write our quiz questions. That was just an example. Okay, so a couple of things I notice. So we are using automation system, which I want to take a look at. Run necessary actions is no longer happening, so I just want to get rid of that. Because the fact that we're not using it just says that shouldn't even be there. Because we're not calling it anymore because we changed the structure. We don't have our console app anymore, and that's what was using it. And actually, let me just kill the bot for a second, everybody. That's right, we murder bots here. We are horrible people. We kill bots for fun and sport. Okay. So, got rid of that, which means that this throw not implemented no longer needs to be there. The next thing I want to do is see if there's another implementation. Okay, there is. So, invoke action and run. So, run necessary action, again, that's the one we deleted, so it doesn't need to be there. And then in the old automated action system right here, we still have, run necessary actions is right there. So this one I'm actually going to get rid of because we're not using it anymore. So that's, seriously, that's why we have source control. We can technically go back for that if we want to. It's not pretty to go back for it, but if we find later we need it, we can get it. Let's see, what else do we want to get rid of in here? We use that. So this is a lot of comment here that I do want to figure out if there's a way to shrink that. You'll probably notice that I'm zoomed in pretty well, so I do that for the sake of the stream. I want you guys to be able to read it without having to like squint at it. So we have pretty big text here, which does mean that some of these lines get a little bit long, so we got to figure out nice ways of handling that, which also makes our code a little bit prettier. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world that we have to do that. Okay, so there's that. We also have this remove action here. Now, interestingly, that almost lines up with this, but I think when we're using the Hangfire approach, we don't need this piece either. So let's chop this as well. And remove action, because remember, the Hangfire one's the only one we're actually going to be using, and it would be nice if the actions had ways of getting themselves out, or something along those lines. So I think if we ended up with a system that needed to handle that kind of thing, we could have these have their own escape. The other thing that I wonder about is, do we actually need to be invoking the action, or should an action system literally just have add action? I think it just should be add the action to the system is all that the automated action system should do. Maybe a start. That also could be a thing. We could say, like, here's the starting point. But those are the main things that I can think of that really should be on here with how simple we want this to be. Okay. So the only reference to this I believe is within this code. Yeah, so does this need to be, could this be a var? Or will that cause problems? Okay, it can't tell the type. Alright, makes sense. Because it doesn't know what that is. Okay, so if we use action, expression, invoke ID, Hangfire would create its own instance, which we don't want since we need our... So instead of an expression of action, we... Okay, so essentially what it looks like Blub is doing here is instead of just saying, hey, do this action, he's saying do this action that expects to be provided with an automated action system, with the thought being that when it goes to resolve it, it will use itself. And because it uses itself, what will happen is it will get access to its own dictionary of actions and can look up the action that it's supposed to be using. So essentially finding its own value in the dictionary. And yeah. So then the serialized value must be this one. That's an interesting approach. I like the solution. That's a cool way to go. Hangfire variables. What I want to look at is how you pass arguments to a Hangfire job. Okay, so is a regular method called those arguments for right line code. You also need to. It's used to serialize the arguments into JSON strings. So you can use almost any type parameter, including arrays, collections, we see. Okay, so they're saying that this becomes our value. So what that tells me is that we need to come up with a nice way of serializing these in a simple way. So what I want to do is this. I want to change how an interval action works. So interval action is the key to this automation system, and the route that Blub took is a good one. I want to take it one step further, and instead of serializing just the string name, I want to actually serialize the values that would be required in order for this to work. So, let's see. We are going to look at interval action. And instead of having is it time to run, we will give it values that make sense for this. So what do we pass in? They're either an integer, a time span, or an integer. Okay, and what we pass it is either an action to call, a message to send, or an action to call. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make a public interface. I'm going to make a new interface, and I'm going to call this hey! Welcome, C# Fritz and friends. We are going to be writing a little bit more C# code. So hopefully you all are planning on joining us for a little bit more fun. We are currently working on our automation piece in our application, and we are using Hangfire for it. So for anyone who doesn't know, Hangfire is essentially a library for running background processes in your ASP.NET Core application. So we are going to be using it for things like having messages that go out at a timed interval, or being able to after a delay, call a certain action or something along those lines. And we are currently we're making a significant structural change to our application as we realize that the interface and approach that we took before worked really well for us. However, we want to simplify a little bit. So we are going to look at using a new system for this. So that's currently what we are working on. So hopefully you are looking forward to that. And enjoyed your stream with C# Fritz. So welcome everybody. And Samuta, welcome. Thanks for following. And thanks, Ace Flames here. Appreciate it. And enjoy your food. And welcome, Karma Lightwing. Okay, so oh, did that still have that one? Add action and invoke action. Okay, it still had that one. That fake is only used during tests. That's why that class looks so empty. For anyone who was wondering there. Okay, so we have our interval action. So for now I called it 2, and the reason I did is because I am eventually just going to do that and chop this one. So it will not survive as 2. This one will not survive very long. It only has 17 references to any of it, so please do expect that one to disappear. And this, as I recall correctly, has a couple more values than I want. And Stim Unix, welcome, thanks for following. And before it chimes in up there, Neogita, thanks for following as well. Okay. See, there it is. Alright, so the couple of things that we have 3 main instances. So one thing I do actually want to change. Currency update is actually just a delayed action. So I kind of want to adjust that one because it's just a delayed action, but I won't worry about it just yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the the delayed message action. It's a simple one. So our delayed message action, the challenge with it is it has a few things in its constructor that we just can't provide for it. So its constructor obviously takes in the values that are required to make it, but we can't rely on that every time because we are coming from a serialized object that's going to get stored in our database, and I'll show you what one of those looks like. The challenge is that when it gets serialized, it could pull a lot of values out, but it won't be able to pull out a complex thing like a chat client. So let's open up our database and we'll see what is actually getting serialized in here. Whoops, assuming I can click on the right stuff. So when we include Hangfire in our project, it makes this whole schema in our database of Hangfire tables. Those include things like our job queue. If I view the data on our Hangfire job list, you'll see that it has serialized an object using json.net, and we have an object in here. Method, parameter types, arguments, so it knows about a type. So it knows about our automated message there, is what those are. And then down here we have, this is an automated action system, so this is using the new code. And you'll notice this one passed in arguments, which is fantastic, so that means that was actually working. Woohoo! Okay, so we need to make delayed message action work a little nicer. So I want to change up what the type is that it's using. So I am going to say interval action 2. I want it using my new one. We're going to have it side by side because of the fact that a class can implement 2 interfaces, not just one. So if I replicate this, I could put these on here and then it would still be fulfilling both of these, but I don't want to do that. I want to change to be simple. So the couple of things I know I need a unique name. This is because Hangfire is actually going to put this in its database and use this name to keep track of it. That way I can make sure it doesn't queue up two of the same task. So it only have one instance of the job, and it uses this name as the value. So I know we need a name for the automated action, which is also useful no matter what your automated action system is, because having some kind of unique identifier helps you to keep track of it so that you don't have a collision. Now it could be an ID, but a name is a little bit nicer. So like the name in this case really is an ID, in that it's a unique name. The next thing that I want to have is I want to change this slightly. So we said that this is an interval action. The next thing that I want is I want the, I kind of feel like I want to have like the payload of something. So I'm going to start it as an interface, but this might become a class. We'll see very quickly. Stimunix, you are not cultured to threading yet, but possible action. So ASP.NET by default is actually doing things in a multi-threaded way, but in this case we are running this through the Hangfire system, so we actually don't have to worry about whether or not it's threaded. So it does that, it takes care of that for us, so we don't actually have to focus on that piece, which is one of the nice things about it. So, but yes, we do some async programming on here from time to time. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's our interval action. The next thing that we need to do is we need the time that it goes for its first thing. So for now I'm going to call this interface foo, and we'll give it a better name in a second. So one of these types was an int, and this int was for, let me jump back to the Hangfire automation system. So the ones that use an integer were the ones that were recurring, right? Yes. Okay, so that is, and is it in minutes? We were using minutes. So we're going to call this interval in minutes. This is going to be a getter as well. And what we're going to do, instead of calling this, wait, is it flagging it foo because it doesn't like the name foo? Oh, it wants to call it ifoo. That's funny. For a second there I thought it had figured out that foo was a fake name and was warning me about it. That would have been amazing. I would have been thrilled. But no, this is good enough. Okay, so this, so really, so instead of calling this an interval action, I want to call this an automated action. And then this is an interval action. So we're going to fix that. So this is the one that actually gets interval in its name. So there we go. That is actually great. We're getting a better name on this already. Okay, so some things are based on an interval. Other things are a delayed action. So we're going to have a delayed action, and delays I think have a time span according to this. Background job gets a time span. I could see going either way on this one, so what I'm going to do is this. So an interval doesn't seem like, I think, simple answer, I think either one of these could use an integer or a time span either way, and I kind of want to make either one a possibility on the interface. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to tell it that this is a delay in minutes, and this is a delay time span. And I think time span is a lowercase s, but I will confirm. Nope, it's not. And that's why we check. So, love IntelliSense. It is wonderful. So now we're going to say interval time span. There we go. I think time span makes me... Stimunix, I agree. I like time spans better. What's likely to happen when we actually write the implementation of this, I fully expect that we're going to store it as a time span, and return, and this is going to be a helper method. Because realistically, it's just that our automation system expects an int, and a nice way to do it, I guess we could just say .minutes. Yeah, we'll just use a time span, because that's just simply better. Okay, so we're going to do that. So we have delayed action, interval action, and an automated action. The next piece that is interesting here is there are two types of things. There are either actions that are just a delayed message, and then there are automated pieces that are an automated action. So I called this action, but I think that we might want to be clear about that. So let's figure this out. If we make one other interface here, would be good. Yeah, I wrote something like that in Python. You can also do a nice debug tool. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yep. Public. So public interface. Janiscu is something going on in the world of football/soccer. I did catch a small amount of it yesterday. Public interface, we want to do an I automated action, and then it's going to be one or the other. This is actually, I want to call that an I interval and an I delayed. So we're going to do an automated action. It'll be fine if it has a name, and then I want to do this. What did this one have? Is it time to void invoke? I have to think about what this is going to be. For now, I think I'm going to say this could be an action. I don't know necessarily. I don't think I want to pass anything to it. I'm just going to call it action for now, and we're going to say get. So this will get the action and allow you to invoke it. Now remember, these are just the interface, not the class. So we're going to write a class that is actually going to do this. So this is going to be an automated message. So we're going to have an automated action and an automated message. For now, they both have name, which I want to pull out somewhere else. And then they need to have a string message. Okay. Let's see. World Cup have last 2 games soon in the group stage. Ah, very fun. As the final group, they have round 3 games. Tomorrow is the first day without any games in the World Cup. That's awesome. And just make it say something like foo then bar till later on. Yeah, yes, Unix. Foo then bar, exactly. Okay, so public interface, and if this ends up being too separated, then we'll put some of these back together into other pieces. But I just want to see how this works right now. Automated item, and we're going to pull the name into this. So here's what we're going to do. So name will be up there. Action, interface, message delayed. Okay, so here's what I want to do. So now the reason I broke it up into this more complex than I probably want structure is that I would like to do this. Inside of our automated action system, I want to change the way that it works. I want to make it so that it can add something new. And Perdo Macho, welcome, thanks for following. As I said, if that got too complicated, I will adjust. add automated item. Automated item. Item to add. Okay. So we're going to make a method item to add, and here's what I want to do. I want to do a switch. Yeah, a switch, sorry. On this. Now what I want to do is, can I generate type patterns? Which one is that? That's resharpers. What is this one? Add default case? I don't want the default case. I want like all the cases, chief. Come on. Oh, nothing implements this yet. Oh, my bad. My bad. Ha ha ha. Actually, do I even need that? Wow, you know, it might get simpler. Let me do this. This might be simpler. Okay, let me go to where these are. Why is this complaining? Oh, because I adjusted too, so it doesn't exist. Okay, so these are our pieces here. We'll see which ones of those we need when I use one. So our new one-time callback action is going to work a little bit differently. Yeah, don't worry, Blub, don't worry. I'm expecting them to go away. I just created the ones that I think we might need. We'll merge together the ones that make sense, but I want to make the type so I can tell which ones make sense. If what I just said is clear. I just wanted to create all the ones that are possibly going to exist and merge them based on that. So they all have nice names and a simple piece. Okay. Mostly just thinking this out as we do it. We're in source control, so consider this experimenting and trying to figure this out. Let's see. Yesterday in Twitch dev stream, one of the was mentioned. Oh, that's funny. Public class. Okay, so our one-time callback action. What is it? It is an automated item. It is an it's an action, so it's an automated action. And then in addition to being an automated action, it is an it's one time, which means it's delayed. Okay, so let's add its missing pieces that I'm hoping come in nicely and we can just use. So time span delay. Delay time span, I think, was already getting used. Time span from seconds, ambiguity between... Ah, okay, so this one had that. It had a field instead of a property. That's silly. Why did I... That was a mess up on my part. And then this, it's never assigned, so we're going to put it up here. So we are not going to use that one. We're going to do action now. Okay, so we've now adjusted to using our new interface as types. Our delay time span gets set from seconds when it comes in, and did we not? We only included this figuring that we can get the minutes from our time span, so that's much simpler. So time of next run is set based on that delay. Okay, so this still works the old way, and hopefully still works the new way. So this is a property. I'm going to move it up to the top here. Just so that's clear. Whoops. Did not mean to zoom in there, although I'm sure you all loved being able to see this a little bit better. Okay, so the nice thing is, this is actually the piece that's going to disappear, is the interval action. Now it is possible that we make an interval action be an delayed action that is one of these. And we'll see about that. So we might do essentially interface inheritance in that sense. Or what we might do is just merge them away, one or the other. Okay, so the point is that we've converted that, and it works the same way now. So that one-time callback action should work whether it's using the old system or the new system. Let's do the same thing with our delayed message action. So a delayed message is an I automated item. It is delayed, so it's an I delayed, and it's an I automated message. So there is its interfaces. It has that set. And then I am going to tell it, go ahead and implement these two things. It's going to drop into the bottom, and then the problem is our field that we had is going to break again. So we're going to do that. So we have our internal message value, which I don't want to keep. I want that to be public because I want other things to be able to access and set that message, including the serialization. So we're using JSON serialization, and that needs to be able to work. So that is why that needs to be there. We then send in our chat client, our next runtime, and that and that. Okay. So the couple of things that I need to figure out how to make Hangfire do is I need to figure out how to tell it that when it has an automated message, that it's able to give it an iChat client. So I think what that means is that we do need to make sure that this either gets registered as a type it knows about, or something about the way that it runs these. When it pulls out this type to run it again, it is going to need to make sure that it hits this. Okay. Is it time to run? Invoke? Yep. Okay. So let's move this property up top just for consistency of keeping the properties together. And there we go. The currency update, I guess we can update this one too, but I really want to convert it to just be the other one. So we'll look at that one in a bit. Yeah, okay. Interval action. So we did delayed. We did one-time callback. We haven't used this one yet. It's possible that we don't. That's just going to be on our automated messaging. So that's actually down here. Automated message is an I interval action, and I think these need to go up here. So I'm going to move that class over into the automation folder, which is where I think it should be anyway. So instead of being in core messaging, do I need to reload that for it to reevaluate because I moved it in here? Does not remove this call to join, start heist action. We don't need to do these anymore. We don't need to do those anymore. Hello, James. Happy Friday. Since I'm guessing you are way in the future from the rest of us. Hopefully Friday is as nice as we all think it is. Greetings and welcome. And Colossus914, welcome. Thanks for following. Yeah, exactly, James. Okay, so these are the tests of the old automated action system that doesn't exist anymore. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Because we don't need tests on a class that doesn't exist. That'll be a pain to maintain. Here, maintain this code that doesn't exist. That'll go well. Okay, let's see, get random question. Nope. Let's close all of those. I don't need the fake action system open either. Automated message. Okay, so an automated message is an automated item. It is an automated message, and it is an interval action. No, not interval action. Interval. There we go. So I'm going to move these up here. So then we're going to say these properties need to actually get set. So the interval time span Colossus. So I am not actually pairing with anyone right now, but if I were pairing with someone, I would be using, if you're talking about collaboration, this start collaboration setting right here up on the top, this button that does share, that actually comes from VS Live Share, which we've used a bunch of times on the stream whenever we have guests. We have no guests today, so here's what I want to do. I want to make this into a property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say interval timespan dot minutes. So what this does is that this is a property now, and its getter is defined as this expression. So this arrow means that I'm going to use an expression-bodied member here. So this becomes our getter. I could also have written it like this, where this is a property, this is the getter, and it returns this value. But for simplicity's sake, we write it using the little equals greater than arrow in order to say, hey, just treat this like a getter-only property here. So works nicely. And then it makes it so it's actually just using this one, which means now in our constructors, right down here, this no longer works. So what I am going to do is say interval timespan equals timespan from minutes, and by doing this, what I'm able to do is preserve all the previous behavior, and also implement the new interfaces that we've added. So notice that I'm always keeping our old interface right now so that everything still works. This is a common trick when you're doing refactorings, is you want to not break the existing stuff. So you sort of add in, and where you replace the functionality, so I replace the functionality of interval and minutes with my interval time span, and by just having it use the new one, I'm able to preserve that. So yeah, exactly, Karma Lightwing. Implementing interfaces is nice because I can do this, and later on I'm probably going to merge a couple of these out, and we'll fix that, and we'll get down to fewer interfaces. But for now, just don't be scared by the fact that we have 4 interfaces. They're each tiny. So that's actually why they're not scary. Okay. This just clearly defines what the capabilities are. Alright, so I converted the message, the action. I think I got them all. I did not do currency updated. Automated message, is this the one this is the one I just did. It's the one that's confused right now in Visual Studio. Delayed message. One-time callback. Okay, so we have a delayed callback, a delayed action. I think there are no interval actions, so none that go on an interval and cause an... Oh! No, that's the currency update. It's the interval action. It's the repeating action. Got it. Okay. We don't have the type for it, so I was going to have it do something else. Yeah, Karma Lightwing. Interfaces are nice because, for a lot of reasons. we've gotten into that a couple of times on the stream, because usually someone chimes in and asks the question, because that's a really big question in C#. Speaking of which, I do actually want to mention something to everyone while I've got your attention. I am going to be doing a special stream, series of streams actually, that I want to make sure that you all know about, and specifically they are going to be at a simpler level than the ones we are doing here today. So I am going to start a series called Learn to Code in C#, and it is going to be open to anyone that wants to show up and attend, so regardless of skill level, whether you are completely new to programming, whether you're just new to C#, or even if you already do program as C# as a professional. We want anyone to come along. What we're going to be doing is simple follow-along exercises using VS Code. So the idea being that new people can learn about programming, see if it's something that interests them, and generally just have fun together. I'm hoping we do get a reasonable amount of more experienced developers to help out in chat. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to invite people to follow along, and it should be a lot of fun. So I've got some exercises that that I think we should all do together. And wait, DevChatter is recommended for DevChatter? Oh my god, that's crazy! It is recommending DevChatter to me. That's sweet. Okay, cool. That is some pretty good inception right there. That's pretty hilarious. So anyway, yeah. So that's the plan. We're going to be doing this, and let me copy you guys the link to that. The annoying thing is, let me show you all this. So that link that I just posted there, this is where it goes, is this page. And then if you went there in your browser, you get here. So for some reason on Twitch, their mobile site doesn't support events, and I don't know why. So, kind of disappointing. Anyway, jumping back to this. I just figured I'd tell everybody that we're doing that. So the first one will be this Saturday. So, what's that? 48 hours from now is when we start. Okay, so the currency update, interestingly, needs to take in an action instead of doing the currency generator thing. But we would need some way to do this. So we're going to have to figure out actions. Automated messages, I think we're going to be able to get working with this system pretty easily. So here's what we want to do. So we now support these interfaces, so let's go back to our Hangfire automation system, where we said we wanted an automated item. But we don't really want an automated item. I mean, we do, but we don't. We want to get some kind of type that implements these interfaces. So, what can we do for this? So, we want an automated item. If that automated item... So we're going to say item to add. Let's see, if it is case, it is a one-time callback action, so like we had before. Actually, I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to start from our old code, shrunken down, so we're going to do this. So right now we only have 4 cases that we go with. Whoops, let me grab our automated message too. So I think our previous code is mostly there, but I want to replace it with this. Okay, so add or update. So currency update is really going to become interval action. Delayed message action is going to be a message. So this says to schedule an expression for a method to call, and it's a background job. But really what we want to do is we just want to have a special message that we're going to call for these ones. So because we know what type this is, we're going to say create get the iChat client ready somehow. And then the same thing happens on this one. Get the iChat client ready somehow. So what that tells me is that our automation system, we want it to have an iChat client that it's associated with. Now, the challenge that we've had with our chat clients is that they need a name too. It doesn't yet have it. We need the name to distinguish a chat client, so there's a way to say which one you're supposed to be talking with. But we won't worry about that just yet. So I'm going to add a private read-only chat client right here, and then what I want to do is this. So the suggestion from Blub was to create an expression that gets serialized. Now that might work. I'm actually not sure how well it will, but I think what we want to do is this. I want to see what happens if I say, so if I call the chat client, can it use it? Can it use my chat client? I'm not sure. Let's find out. So in the action, he created an action and then invokes the action and then does it based on that, and he keeps it in memory. So, okay. So let's do this. Delayed message action. It's going to have a chat client. This chat client is going to come in here. And we are going to say schedule expression chat client. So we're going to say this. We're going to say underscore chat client. Dot send message. Delayed message action dot message. And just in case, I am actually going to pull this out as a string. Just to be super clear that I really do not need that type in there. So when it serializes this expression, I'm hoping that it can get the chat client because it already has one. I'm not certain that that'll work. Which, now that I think about it, this code might work down below. How much did I copy there? Where did I copy from? Everything except the case. So if we do that, and I comment this out for now, does this currently work? Let's build and run this code and see what we get. So that's a delayed message action. So when we run the bot, you'll all notice that it'll connect into chat and it's going to say hello when it gets in here. Right now, this delay that's going on, oh, that actually might have been something else. I might have to look at that. I was going to say, we often get a delay because when we start up the bot, the first thing we do is actually we attempt to make some connections to the Twitch API, and there's actually an undocumented part of that that throws exceptions. That's not what's happening here. I think this one is related to getting that type, probably the chat interface. Yeah, here we go. Circular dependency was detected on my iChat client. And my hosted service, I think my chat client had an automation system in it. So iChat client. So let me take a look. Control-Alt-B. This has an automation system, doesn't it? iLogger adaptive Twitch chat client. No. I thought it would. Okay. Hangfire automation system. Taking in a chat client. This is clearly the problem. Well, let's do this then for now. Let's assume that I'm going to get that dependency resolved, and temporarily, just for testing's sake, we're going to do this. That then requires the Twitch API and some other things. Okay. So we set this value in here from here. Let's find out where this was used. In our setup, we created this as a singleton. It requires a chat client. Did we never initialize chat client? Add Twitch lib. Ah, okay. So where did that one happen? Twitch lib connection, which happens after that. Let me put that down there and see what happens. Might make a difference. We'll see. Alright, what's the type it's having trouble with? We'll take a look again. Alright. Program. View details. There's our exception. Yep, circular dependency. What was the type involved in circular dependency, please? Okay, hosted service requires an automation system and a chat client, and the automation system requires a chat client. So let's take a look at hosted service then. So that's our background worker, which is a hosted service, and it has automated action in it. Ah, okay, so this is getting created and it needs a chat client. So thinking about this, it sort of needs, so I need it to have a chat client. I want this to have a chat client when it's created. Now it could be that we delay it, so it doesn't have it right away. Also, I don't think we need these. Do we? Nope, it's going to require it. Well, that's stupid. Shouldn't really need them. It would if we didn't do a switch. See? Which is weird. but they have that restriction when you do it with a switch. Just so no one's confused here, this is called a discard. So essentially, when it checks the type of this action against these two types, if our action is a delayed message action, we go in this case statement. If it's a one-time callback action, we're in this case statement. The secret here is that it's going to store it in a variable, and the variable it stores it in here is this underscore, and this is called a discard in C#, so I figure I'll chime in with that one. Essentially, this value is just thrown away. So when you don't need the result of an operation, you store it as an underscore, and then that's called a discard. It's basically just a throwaway variable that you don't need. So remove one item at one-time action, which always get queued again by the bot. Which basically means it was a delayed. So essentially this is saying if action is I delayed, then underscore actions dot remove ID. Congratulations, I simplified the code. There we go. So that's the value of the I-delayed interface right there, is that they both have it. So both of those types did, so it applied. But I still want to simplify beyond what this is doing. So here's what I'm going to do. I will make a local commit of this. Adding new interfaces. Yeah, no, James, this is not just for rock, paper, scissors. This is for our long-term automation and applies to all of our games. So this runs in our heist game, this runs in our rock, paper, scissors game, it runs in our... so I said heist, it runs in rock, paper, scissors, it runs in our quiz game, it's going to run in the deal or no deal game. It is what does the automated messages to tell the audience about things so viewers can get notified about stuff, and we'll use it in other games as well. It's also what will periodically give chat users currency, tokens, just for being here. So a lot of pieces of the bot are going to rely on this, which is so not just for rock, paper, scissors. And Java freaks, welcome, hi. So interestingly, because I noticed that, because there's a Java freaks is probably a Java dev would be my guess. But the interesting thing that I wanted to comment about is related to that. I was explaining to someone who was wondering the difference between Java and C#. And I gave a response that I think you all would find kind of interesting. The way I described it to this guy, who is a, that was a user. I wasn't calling, like, Java people freaks. I'm not a mean person like that Karma Lightwing. What I was saying is, I wanted to explain to him, and he's a video gamer, and so I'm like, well, how do I explain to you what the difference between Java and C# are? And so what I said was, consider it this way. I should preface, he's a World of Warcraft streamer, and he plays on Alliance. So the way I phrased it to him, and no offense, Java freaks, I said, so imagine that C# is like the Alliance, and Java is like the Horde. And the reason I said this is because everyone has chosen or chooses one side or the other, and despite the fact that they solve a lot of the same problems and just do it slightly differently and have most of the same type of structure around them, the other side is totally wrong, and it is the worst choice you could possibly make joining the other side. And so the thing, so like making the gamer analogy. Yeah. Yeah, see, Stim Unix. So now, if I were explaining this to someone that played as the Horde, I would have then said, so imagine that C# is the Horde, and Java is the Alliance. And see, the idea being that no matter who you're explaining to it, you just flip it the way that you actually want, and then, yeah. Anyway, see, now we're going to start the Alliance versus Horde argument. Yeah, so... I guess I asked for that one to happen, huh? Okay, you're having a hard time choosing between Java and C#. Oh, really, game? The Horde is way better. Yeah, see? Not that there are any... There's no overlap between the gaming community and the programming community. None at all. So, either way, so what I was going to mention, one other thing related to this, so I chimed in with our, so I hit my hype emote that's over there in chat, which is the channel emote. We have our little T-Rex with short arms is our channel mascot, and I figured I'd mention to you all that, so we have that as our emote, and starting July 15th, I believe, Twitch is actually going to allow us to have custom subscriber badges. So Karma Lightwing and anybody else in here who is a subscriber to the channel, I figured I'd mention to you that we are going to get custom sub badges in here starting July 15th. I'm already working with our designer that did our emotes, and he's going to be getting us some awesome badges for that. So we'll have custom sub badges. It'll be fun. And Mjoma, however you pronounce that, and if you do want me to say it correctly, just let me know and I will try to say it better. What do you use for multi-database tenancy? I guess I'm wondering what your, I guess, what's your goal? What are you trying to set up? It's a Marcos. Why is ASP.NET worth it over Node.js? I find it's more complicated to do the same things. So, there are a lot of differences between the way that ASP.NET Core and Node.js work. So, Marcos, I do want to find out whether you're talking about ASP.NET MVC or ASP.NET Core, and because there are a lot of different ASP.NETs that you could be talking about. Because there's web forms, there's MVC, there's ASP.NET Web API, there's Core, so the idea is that if you're on... So the complexity there is that there's a lot of choices, but ASP.NET Core is actually very simple. And by simple, I mean like easy to use. It's not got a lot of complexity. So I do wonder what you're running into there. But I find that it's actually pretty easy to use ASP.NET Core. Now, a lot of the reason why people would choose it over Node.js is actually language-based. There are a lot of people that would rather code in C# than in JavaScript. Now, obviously, there are a lot of people that would rather program in JavaScript and C# too. So I think a lot of that comes down to preference on that. And C#, a lot of the reason people like it is that it has a lot of static typing and other things that are nice about a compiled language. And even with that, it's still very lightweight and easy to use. So a lot of the new stuff that has shown up in C# lately is designed to make it a faster, more efficient language. It has things that it's been pulling from F#, so it's been pulling in functional programming concepts and improving as a language a lot over time. Obviously, JavaScript has been improving a lot over time as well. So that's sort of the idea there, is it's really which one do you want to be on? And I'm not seeing any dropped frames on my side, so let me know if I am lagging, guys. Let me catch up on chat real quick. Glad you're excited about it, Karma Lightwing. Yeah, you guess you make a valid point there. This might be a surprise to you, but I actually used both. I came back to C# with the introduction of .NET Core. Java Freaks, that's awesome. Yeah. So .NET Core is a great thing for that. I've actually worked with a lot of people that use both. Heck, I was writing production Java code within the last year. So I use both of them also. I prefer C#, which I think most people could guess based on the fact that I do a channel where we do C#, but no surprise there. Okay, so MJOMA, you're doing a typical SaaS application with ASP.NET Core 2.1 and EF Core. That's awesome. Okay, so you need to connect multiple databases. They use virtualization engine like Java for .NET versus Node. Stimunix. Yeah, so the way that .NET always works is that there is something called the intermediate language. For a quick explanation for anybody that is interested, what makes .NET interesting is actually the fact that all this code that we write actually gets turned into what is called... It's called intermediate language, and it's kind of like an assembly language. So it's the type of stuff that you would have had to program directly against your CPU long ago. And intermediate, I say it's basically like an assembly language. It's a slightly more readable assembly language that is what is actually run by the .NET framework, the runtime. So it actually is just running this assembly code. So that's actually what we compile. And let me show you all what I mean. So there are a lot of tools that can do this. The one that comes with Visual Studio is this one. I say IL DASM. But it's actually the IL disassembler, and there are actually also a lot of other tools that can do the same thing that are nicer than this one, but I just want to show it to you because everybody has this one. Actually, let me go find this file. So I'm going to open up the file that we actually have running here, and I will show you how this code works. And no, we're not really going to dig into the intermediate language that gets built. But I do want to show you a little bit of it because it is pretty darn cool, if you ask me. DevChatter source, DevChatter web, bin, debug, netcore 2.1. Let's open up the core project. Okay, so we're not really going to look at the code, but I just want to show you what it is. So this is our core project right here, and if we were to open up one of these things, like say our commands, our coins command, for example, that's a pretty simple command, you'll see that it has a constructor, and this is the code for its constructor. So that's actually assembly language. It's actually kind of cool. So this is the actual code. This is what it compiles into. So this is what's actually in those DLLs that you create. So not that you actually need to dig into this, but what is cool about this is you can actually, if you want to find out do two things in the language do the same thing, you can actually create it in IL and take a look at it and see, like, did this actually generate the same output? And if it did, then they really do compile into the same thing. So it's really neat how you can check to see what the compiler actually did. Okay, ASP.NET sounds like a nightmare if you don't know what you need. Yeah, and so Karma Lightwing, it would be, except that the easiest thing to do is you can read articles about it. They do have articles that tell you which ones you want to use, but realistically, you just want to use whatever the newer thing is in this case. Microsoft hasn't made a misstep on ASP.NET yet, so your stream is lagging, so you didn't get the answer. Can someone write it for me, please? It's a Marcos. Which question was yours? Sorry about that. ASP.NET Core is extremely easy. Throw in ODID and NuGet and you get 3. Yeah. Stimunix, have a great one. Thank you very much. Why say line of code instead of lines? Oh, yeah, well, gives you a decent package manager out of the box. ASP.NET does give you NuGet is quite nice. F# ASP.NET Core MVC, yes, you totally could. Node module, the only thing denser than a black hole. And the common intermediate language, yes. Also, Node is a mess when it comes to packages. You install one, you end up with 40 packages installed. No content, that is actually a little bit, starting to become a little bit of a problem in NuGet even. We're getting more packages. It's not to the same extent. So you don't end up with like the thousands of packages that you can end up with elsewhere. Yeah, Angular, React, or Vue until Blazor is stable. Yes, exactly. So on our channel, we are planning to do Vue stuff and Blazor stuff. Angular and React, I have messed with in the past. I like them both. They're very cool. But I was like, hey, Vue sounds interesting. I like the direction that it's supposed to be going, so let's take a look at that. And Blazor being C# running in the browser, again, it's just a fun thing for us because we do a lot of C# on the stream. Twitch extension is an iframe with WebTech. Oh, really? I haven't actually looked into what the implementation of a Twitch extension is. That's kind of crazy. Did I leave the chat client in there? I removed it, right? Maybe I didn't. If I didn't, then we're going to hit that same error. Let's open that up. Hangfire automation system. We're going to go up here. iChat client. Yeah, we're going to remove this for now. I'm not sure why that's giving us that trouble, but if anything, we're going to delay the initialization of this. So this wants to use this chat client, which I want to just say, instead of doing that, we'll just leave this as action for now, or expression for now. And compile that again. In the front end, but EBS community thing. I think I heard the Twitch extension front end kind to be. Oh, Janiscu! If they actually do that, that would be awesome. They should make Twitch extensions all be Blazor, right? That'd be sweet. I would be thrilled if they do that. Okay, so this compiles. Let's see if it runs. We're gonna get the bot back in the chat room with all of you, and then make this run a little bit better. So there we go. It is back up and running. Bot says hello. Hello, bot. Welcome. Let's play a quick game of Hangman in chat here. Yeah, Janiscu's got the right idea. Oh, I know the word. I'm done. I got it. I know what it is. Anybody else know what it is? I'll give you a hint. Oh, Janiscu, I killed it. Sorry. Yeah, so while it's running like this, Janiscu, if I compile the code, I kill the running bot. And hilariously, I kill it without even having it say goodbye. So I need to figure out how to really make it so that it does say goodbye when I do that. So right now, if I kill it in IIS Express, it says goodbye when it leaves, but it doesn't when I do a compile in Visual Studio. So I'm not sure what's different about that. We'll need to figure it out so that it actually alerts you when it goes down. Mjoma, I prefer Angular and sometimes I use React. However, Blazor is a much better concept that avoids a lot of the garbage. Yeah, so yes, Janiscu, the game was going and I killed it. Sorry. But yeah, I am really hoping that Blazor picks up because I actually like C#. It's a very nice language. It's not the best language in the world, but it's a very nice one. So, okay, so I need to figure out how to make this thing work. So if we add the chat client to the constructor, it breaks. It does not want to set up that constructor. So what we could do, add Hangfire, configuration, use SQL storage. So this actually sets up all of our Hangfire systems. This sets up our code that depends on Hangfire. Okay, so the funny thing is, James, you joke. Let me tell you, I actually want to tell you guys an interesting story about something that I set up a long time ago. Botmain wants iChat client and automated action system. And so the problem is that Botmain needs both of them. Yeah, okay, I will hop on that in a sec, Blub. Okay, no. So the funny thing is, yeah, James. We all use automated build servers today. So you guys have all probably used TeamCity or AppVeyor or some other kind of system that builds. You maybe used Hudson or Jenkins or whatever, right? Back in the day, there used to be a product, so I think it still exists, Cruise Control. Does Cruise Control still exist? I haven't used it in forever. .net. CruiseControlNet.org. Okay, looks like it's still here. Latest projects. Ooh, man, that's old. Okay. It closes then. Wait, what? What is this? Okay, maybe it does still exist. 9 years ago, 4 years ago? Okay. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so maybe this is... Anyway, so Cruise Control is an old product that was a build server. And a long time ago, I'm talking like 2008, so a decade ago, I was using Cruise Control as my automated build system, and it actually worked really nicely. Everything was based in config files. Everything was XML, so it had build files within Cruise Control, and that's actually what ran Cruise Control. So when you set up builds, it was actually creating XML files from that. So what we did, we put all those XML files into source control, and our entire build system was in source control. So when you wanted to add a new build, you actually just modified those XML files, and then you wanted that new build to be in there. So what we did was we set up another Cruise Control that watched that Cruise Control's source control and just said, oh, there was a change in it? Okay, wait for it to not be running any, wait for it until it's not running any builds, stop it, update its values, restart it. And so it actually, we had our automated build server for the automated build server. It was actually really neat. So I just thought it was a funny solution. Your comment about that reminded me of it. Okay, so what do I not like about C#? Oh, what do I not like about C#? Let's see. There are a couple of things that I wish C# had. And it's hard to distinguish what's a problem with C# and what's a problem with .NET. So I will say one of the things that bugs the heck out of me about C# is the null reference exception. Now, the problem I have is this. I understand that once compiled, they don't know the name of the variable that is null, and they don't have a value for it because it's null. And I mean, that's a constant value, right? So it throws an exception because it's null, but I sit there and I'm like, but hang on. You don't know the name of that variable, but you know the type of it. You know the type. If you told me the type of the variable that is null when you gave me the exception, I would be so much better off. And that is something that could have been in the language forever ago, because they do know the types of values at runtime. And that's the key. They don't always know the name of it, though. So, because that actually gets lost when you compile it. It loses the name, but it should still have its type. Okay. Yeah, so Blub, I agree that... Okay, so just a heads up, here's what Blub noticed. So Blub says he's dumb, but he's not actually dumb. And yes, that's just one example of a thing in .NET or C#, whatever you want to call it, that annoys me a little bit. There are other deficiencies within the language that I wish were a little bit better. But I really don't want to get it. There are too many to really get into all of them. Because some of my complaints are also with some things that are within default libraries and stuff like that. But a lot of it's really good. So even when I say a bad thing about C#, there are so many good things about it as well. It is a very good language. There are a lot of great languages, though. I love what programmers do. We really build some amazing things. So I am proud to also be a programmer. Okay, so actually, now that I think about it, before we try anything else, let me do this. Chat clients. Chat clients. Chat clients.single. Let me see if this works before we, just to make sure that that wasn't the problem before we move on. We'll see if we still get our circular reference here. No, we didn't. Maybe that's because it didn't know what chat client. We didn't know to pass in multiple chat clients. I'm not sure on that one. But either way, that looks like it may have worked. I'm actually mildly confused that that worked. Although, I do want to stop it and do this. No, actually, no, this is the way I wanted to try it. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Sorry, James, you are absolutely correct. We want to test it that way. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do RPS rock. Alright, everybody, I am not going to cause this application to restart. We're actually going to find out if this works. So we're going to run it. Feel free to join in the game of rock, paper, scissors. And if you don't have enough coins, I apologize because our automation system's not working, and that's actually why no one's earning coins right now. So that's actually what we're testing. We did a huge change to our application and need to rewire this to work differently. Karma Lightwing, you got to take off. Have fun. Karma Lightwing, my recommendation to you is you get a walking desk, or a standing desk, then you won't sit still anymore. So that's right, I am at a standing desk. And I could move a treadmill here, but we don't want treadmill noise and walking while I'm on the stream. Oh, yep, see? Bonus. Whoops. Does that name work? Really? Oh, yeah. Whoa! That's weird. I don't actually know what that does. Hang on. Does that work? Oh man, I cannot believe that works. That's wonky. When you hit tab, it like auto-completes the other one. I'm so confused by that. Yeah, Karma Lightwing, walking desks. They're actually really nice. I used to use them all the time. Hey, cool. Look at that. It shows scissors, says who the winner is. Everything worked nicely there. And the neat part is, we used this trick instead. So we didn't actually have to use the... we didn't need the dictionary for this one. So that's actually really cool. Yeah, Karma Lightwing. I highly... Oh, sorry, James. I just closed it. Okay. Alright, so that works. So let's try that on the next one. So our automated message can do the same thing. So let's do this. We are going to pull out the message. Automated message gets us our message. Delayed message. Except that can't be automated message. Okay, so now interval in minutes is what we pass in there, and it came from that, and then our expression needs to be this. Instead of expression, whoops. Pass in that, and then we're going to use message in here. And now when we run this, it should work. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's do this.
Here we go!
Alright, so we're going to test our automation again with that. So the couple of things we want to have, so our bot said hello. We're hoping it's going to remind everybody to click the follow button, because that's one of its messages it says on an interval. So if we see that, that means that part's working. The other thing we're watching for here is we want the bot not to respond to one of our commands, but we want it to warn us that there's not much time left to join the rock, paper, scissors game, and then we also want it to tell us when the game is complete. Both of those would indicate that the automation is still working right. Hey, there's the hello and welcome. Look, look, look. It's the automated message. Okay, cool. So those ones worked. That was this. It just ran this code that we just changed. So that's awesome. All right, there's one. Let's see if we get the second one. Ace Flames here. Yeah, so this change is working. So we're changing how it works to simplify it. So the approach that that Blub took already worked. We are now trying to go a little bit further and simplify. So we're trying to cut down on what was going on here just a little bit. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's see if that rock, paper, scissors game finishes. Maybe we're already out of time. It should already have been done. I can't tell if it should have been done. Ace Flames here. Try to join the rock, paper, scissors game. Yeah, I know. So for testing it is, James. But if you actually put this on a regular like gaming channel, this is seriously how long people will be able to join this game. Because the other problem is you don't want everybody else to miss out on it just because they didn't get the chance. Okay, so sometime with it, because I started it at 146. So sometime, oh, there it is. It chose paper. Boom, done. There we go. Ace Flames here. Aren't you glad you jumped in right there? You are the only winner of that game. So, okay, that is fantastic. So that means that it's working on all those pieces. So that is cool. Yeah, it chose paper. What do you want, man? James, your timing is perfect. I stop the bot every time right before you can get that command to run. So, well done. Rigged, rigged, rigged. Okay, so adding chat clients to automation system. Okay, there we go. So we're adding those back in. Now the next thing that we want to do is this. I want to distinguish whether we are doing, which one we're doing. Ooh. Two of these are the same. Those are messages. We might not, so things may simplify. We'll see. So as I said, any interface we end up not needing in our implementation, we're gonna get rid of or merge away. So some of those interfaces we created may die. We'll see. Okay. So we have an automated message that is definitely working. Which ones are still using? So one-time callback. Let's make our one-time callback work in a simpler way as well. So essentially we got them off of doing this, the approach, a very clever approach that Blub came up with. We want to get rid of that though, because we want it to just work in a simple way. So we want to essentially remove as much as we can. So Blub got this working. Let's get this working even easier. So where do we go? So we want to not have to actually, so we might want to store these actions actually, now that I think about it. The automated action should get created every time. Can I tell it not to keep these around? Okay, this we need to check the name. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. So we need to always have an automated job that is giving people currency while they're in chat. So all of you that are in chat, we want the bot to give you a small amount of currency over time. You can see that by nope. So first off, I typed it wrong. So I typoed that. And then second, what I did was I clicked the button while the bot wasn't actually running. So now that it's running, that's a lot of coins. Anyone else want to check their coins? So our top people right now are Arid Tag, Async Awake, I Don't Count, and other people. So looks like it is giving out some coins. So hang on. Yeah, so people have coins in here, so that's very nice, Chaos Theory. Yeah, all kinds of coins. So we're seeing a bunch of people have a bunch of coins in there. So we want to make sure that it's always doing that. If we take a look at Hangfire, which is the automation piece that we've got here. So first off, I need to kill this. These jobs that are failing, we need to figure out why they're failing and fix them. But for now, I think they're all related to the same type of thing, which is that their expression is too complicated. So that's why I'm trying to simplify that. Okay, so now if we look in here, we'll see that we have a few different types of message in here, and I kind of want to get rid of these, maybe? Twitch chat client dot send message. I don't know. Happens when I invoke these. Anything? Yeah, Blub, I don't think currency generating is happening. For example, it's been more than a minute, so still 143, so yeah. Chaos Theory should have gotten some coins, but didn't. So I don't think they're actually working. So I'm going to delete these for now. Yeah, James. No, it's just based on time and your presence here. So, oh, sorry, Janiscu, I'm about to kill that bot. I'm not going to let it sit around waiting 2 minutes for that. Sorry. Okay, so here's what I want to do. Probably forgot to add it to the automation system when we move to web. Oh, could be. Could be. You're thinking it's not even getting added in here. That's possible. Feel free to take a look at the code. And for anyone who doesn't know, our code is out on GitHub at github.com/devchatter. So you can see it there if you want to take a look. Okay, so our currency update is a recurring job. Time calls it the automated message is delayed message action. So automated message is the one I'm currently thinking about. Does it have name? Expression method call. I want to somehow give this a name or something. I want it to know that this is the same job. Does this have ID or something? That is... Okay, so here's what I want to do. Hangfire IO. Delayed jobs. Once and only when recurring many times. Console right line recurring daily. Yeah, I see that. Now the bot leaves. So the trick with Hangfire is this. It's actually storing because it's actually storing all this stuff in the database, what ends up happening is we technically can add it in and keep it there. So if it can tell it's the same one, it should create the same one each time. But what I want to do is have it have a name so it doesn't try to insert it an extra time. So queue delay. Right, forget. Schedule a background job. Add or update a recurring job. Do. Documentation, search, add or update. Add or update, blah blah blah, add or update. How do I make sure specifying identifiers? There we go. Identifiers should be unique. Fantastic. There we go. Okay. Got it. So it becomes that, and then the cron value. So it's the first parameter. Recurring job ID. Perfect. Name. There we go. Currency update dot name. Perfect. Delayed message action dot name. Oh, wait. Maybe that doesn't apply to to these ones. Maybe it only applies to the automated ones. So we'll do this. Name. There we go. And actually, I am going to make this take more space, but hopefully be a little clearer. And then the other thing that I want to do here is I actually want to make it so that so anybody else notice that this and this are the same code every time except for this message getting pulled out? I kind of want these to work the same way. So I kind of feel like that's going to be our new interval action. We'll see. Okay, so add unique IDs to the add unique IDs. Let me confirm. So we did this on the message one. Let me confirm that first. So on automated message, where did its name come from? Did we set it yet? Automated message. Okay, so name is a parameter. Message ID. Perfect. Let's do this to it, actually. So we're going to use string interpolation and say that this is automated message, and then we're going to say message.id. So automated message.id, right? So that's really clear what this is. Now let's go to the other constructor of this, which should be, there's a test one, here's a real one, name, and that was just coming from the other one, so perfect. Yeah, Janiski, what about the automated messages? Currency update. Name of currency update. Perfect. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start up this job again. I'm going to start up this bot. We're going to go and take a look at the jobs. We're going to get rid of the recurring jobs that are not our named ones. Since we just gave them these nice names, we want to make sure that ours are the ones that are in here. So, recurring things. Automated message. There it is with its awesome GUID. Which, of course, because it's a GUID, I didn't really need to put automated message on there, but it makes it clear for us that that's what it is. Now, I'm confused why this Twitch client send message is on here. Like, I don't know what that is. But I also noticed that our currency update is not in here. So, we'll have to figure that one out. Okay. So let's see if we can't figure out where currency update is being used and where it was being used. So, let's see, currency update, automation. Does this get created anywhere? Just in the tests, okay. I wonder where it was getting used. Either way, it's not in the automation system, so that is a problem. So let's go to the bot main. This is seriously only running in the test. Currency update. Hangfire automation case currency update. We only create new ones there. Yeah. So that sets up the automated messages. It's not bad. So schedule the automated messages, and then we also need to okay, so my plan here is that let's go to automated action system, add action, new currency update. It's currently in the settings. No. It will be. Interval is 1. That's fine. Don't worry about these values just yet, because we're not actually going to have this in here. It's going to be initialized elsewhere. So don't worry about that. So that wired up all its dependencies. These, I believe, are all defined inside of... Let's confirm. So we're going to go to this. Where's this referenced? Bot main, currency generator, service collection extensions, add singleton, and iCurrency generator. Okay, so this is wired up. And I believe the other ones are wired up as well. Chat user collection I know is, system clock I know is, which means currency update just needs to be included in that. So what we're going to do is this. So currency update's right here, and we need to put this in the constructor for for now. So we're going to have that in the constructor. And then it can be read-only. And I am going to jump out here and go to the startup. And so I added currency commands. But I don't think that's... Because we have... See, look. We have the currency generator in here, too. So we are going to add in a currency update, which is going to be a piece that's going to run in here. So I want to change this name. It's no longer add currency commands, it's add currency system. So this is everything related to having currency inside of the program. So we're going to do that. So our bot should initialize this, so then in here this should get during the bot main should run and add that. Just waiting for the bot to get going here. Every time it runs slow like this, I just assume it's on that call out to the undocumented Twitch API that sometimes fails. Because we actually allow our system to keep retrying, so that's why we spin for so long. Because it just keeps on retrying, because eventually it will succeed. Are we using a preview build of Hangfire? Oh man, that would be annoying, wouldn't it? The answer to your question, James, is do not bring that spider over here. Because we don't want you bringing that into the US. That won't be fun. Adding currency update. Currency update back in. Alright, so we're going to commit that. Then I'm going to take a look at this because I want to look at these. We do not have the same version of these. Oh, our unit test we didn't update them to 2.1. Well, that's weird. Wonder why I didn't do that. Is this net standard or something? Net core 2.1. Net. There we go. Hadn't realized we never updated our tests. That's silly. So let's take a look at this. So one of the nice things is the project files have gotten so much nicer in .NET Core. So net core app 2.1. There you go. Let's take a look. I don't want to update TwitchLib just yet. We're going to update that. We're going to update mock. Yeah, we can update that even though I don't think we're using much from it. I am good with most of these updates. I don't think... None of these, I think, are going to have breaking changes. So I'm going to update all of those. And then I'm going to take a... Yeah, thanks, James. No. I said do not upload the spider through the internet. Do not. No uploading the spider. It doesn't even fit in your 5.25 floppy inch drive that we know that you have on your computer. Highly advanced floppy disk drives. They are the wave of the future, man. Okay. The Hangfire package is just their project setup that's super weird. Oh. Interesting, Blub. Version conflict detected in EF core. Reference the project directly from the project to resolve this. Okay, in our EF project, we are referencing 211, and in our ASP.NET Core project, it's 210. Did we specify? Microsoft Core app, right there. Okay. And then in this one, it must be literally specified. Yep, so we updated to the 211s here. But then since this project includes them through this, we can't update that. So that's kind of weird that they would do that. Well, I can switch all these back to 210 just like this. Which is disappointing then that we end up not updating because of that. Let me see if it lets us switch back. Ah, yeah, all the 210s. Okay. So it's going to complain about each one in turn as we run into it. In that case, I'm going to switch them back. So everything except for TwitchLib, we're going to attempt to update. Now, one of those is not going to update, and that's fine. But then I'm going to hop over into our core project, because that's also doing it. Do they not have the 211 of the actual, of this yet? Does that not exist? Let's find out. Apparently they do. Nope. Maybe I didn't. Blub, I don't remember. Well, that's what source control is for. We'll get those later. Clean. Clean again. Rebuild. I think that's actually an artifact from the build process that was left there. Okay. We're gonna try running it again. This time it's gonna work. Build works this time. Let's try running it. Ah, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go. ASP.NET Core powers activate. Shape of website. Really just doesn't want to go. An int on the currency update. Oh, right. Oh, yeah, that's why. I remember now. Okay, looks like I'm getting to fix that sooner rather than later. So I had mentioned that we needed to do something about this. Let me show you. So we're going to go to the currency update. We're no longer going to have it get its interval from the constructor like this. We have two options now. We can either add a repository, which is, I think, what I'm going to... yeah, I think I'm going to do it. So we're going to give it access to the repository, and the reason we're going to give it access to the repository is this. I want to... Ooh, I was going to have it get its settings. So let's do this. Repository dot... settings... command settings policy dot my settings name. How did this work? Got it. Alright, I got it. We're going to use our settings factory instead. So here's what we're doing. We're going to go back into this, our currency update. Instead of taking in a repository, we're going to take in a settings factory. And we're going to call it a settings factory. And this is going to rename as well to an underscore settings factory. Now down here, I want to say settings factory dot get settings. Seb the Third, you have a noob question about C#? Yes, you're welcome to ask. What is the difference between C# and .NET, and then what is the difference between .NET and .NET Core? So C#, I can give you a quick answer to that, and that is a perfectly valid question. And I actually have a follow-up thing I'm going to mention to you about that after I answer the question. So the first thing is that C# is a programming language. .NET and .NET Core are frameworks. Now, I know that doesn't quite answer the question, but I am going to explain. So C# is what this language is called. So it gives me the structure of having namespaces, classes, I have fields, I have constructors, I have methods. This is all C#. This works regardless of what I compile it for and where I run it. So .NET and .NET Core, as I mentioned, are frameworks. So to answer your second question of what is the difference between them, .NET is a framework that has existed for quite a long time now. We're nearing like 20 years that the .NET framework has existed. And essentially, the .NET Framework is sort of like, think of it like the platform that you run your C# code on. And .NET Core is a new version of that. .NET Core was originally developed as almost a subset of .NET, so it's a lightweight, simplified version of .NET, of the full .NET framework. Now, I expect that they are going to diverge a little bit, and that's part of the reason why there's actually a third thing called .NET Standard that was set up. Now, I need to find an old video that we did on the channel and actually link it to you. We actually started off one of our streams one time with like a half-hour explanation of all the differences between .NET, .NET Core, and .NET Standard, and what all these things are, and it's a little confusing, but it actually gives us some better direction. And part of the reason is that .NET Framework is what has been around for like 20 years-ish, and a lot of companies are depending on the .NET Framework continuing to exist, so Microsoft is still developing it and improving it, so new versions of full .NET Framework are coming out. And then in .NET Core, that is basically the future of the .NET Framework. That is like the new version. It is lightweight. It runs on Windows, Linux, Mac OS. So essentially, wherever you want it to run, I would not be surprised if we start getting a .NET Core, way of building UI-based applications that could run on Android and iOS. And I would also like a .NET Core UI UI library that allows us to build a GUI application that runs on Windows, Mac, Linux. I am really looking forward to that. I think it would be great if we can get an official from Microsoft version of that. So it should be really awesome. And now the third thing that I wanted to mention, Seb, it sounds like you're new to C#, and so what I do want to mention to anybody who's in chat that did not know about this is I will be doing a series on this channel. Whoops, didn't mean to click that button. I meant to click this button. So we're going to be doing a series on here called Learn to Code in C#. So my regular streams, we're just writing code as a group together on different things. So sometimes that is a little bit higher level than a lot of the beginner programmers are used to. So they're watching some things, they're picking up stuff. I think it's still really valuable what we do on a regular basis for the beginners. But I want to specifically have something for programmers that are starting out that can be more to their level. And I'm hoping it's still valuable and fun to the intermediate to advanced developers as well. So we're actually going to be explaining all the basics of things like, all the different ways of looping and how they work, all the different flow control stuff like if statements, switch statements, how all those work, what variables are, what the different types are in C#, and actually like core concepts of programming we're going to work through together. And the goal of how we do this is I'm going to use simple tools like VS Code, and we're going to always start our projects every day from scratch. So if you attend any of our Learn to Code series, you're always going to be able to just show up to that day and just follow along. So even if you missed a previous day and don't know how something works, that's fine. You can still show up, and you might just have to... And thank you for the follow, Hoshbert. And I also noticed that Met Baba, and if I pronounce your names, either of those funny, just let me know. And so that is actually our first Learn to Code event stream is going to be this Saturday, so June 30th at 1 p.m. EDT. And if you go to this URL, which I will paste into chat so you all can get there and see it, but it also was linked up above. You all saw how I got there in the events window. The first one will be this Saturday. You can actually go here. You can get reminders of this stuff so that you don't miss them when they're coming up. I think you can get reminders of any of them by just clicking this heart button. That's my guess on that. So if you're able to attend any of these, I did a survey this past week to ask people when they wanted them to be, and the vast majority of people said Mondays and Saturdays, so I scheduled for Saturdays and Mondays that I thought would work pretty well. And the goal being that we want like one stream a week to be a Learn to Code stream, and roughly speaking, one stream a week is going to be a programming exercise stream. So both of those are going to be starting out greenfield. You could follow along, or you can just watch us. Either way, it's up to you. So just figured I'd let everybody know about that. Okay, and James, your question about what does a constructor do? And yes, James Skyer, there's something called the .NET runtime, or the CLR runtime, and actually the CLR is the Common Language Runtime. Essentially, that is the equivalent of the JVM. So there's a .NET Core runtime, there's a .NET runtime, they both exist, and that's what the equivalent of the JVM is. Constructors are how you create an object. So whenever you call... So if you've ever seen this in C#, if you say var foo equals new, and then you did a type, so we'll do this, right? Okay, so this new keyword says call the constructor of this method. Now, of this class. Now, what I want everybody to notice that's interesting is you'll notice that this looks like any other method, except that it doesn't have a type. But it sort of does. Its name, and essentially it has a type, but it doesn't really have a name. If you think of it like this is where the name would be. But since it's empty, because it's a constructor, really it's just public type, right? So if I put this space in here, which I believe is still valid, that's really what a constructor is. It's actually an unnamed method, and it really still has the type. So it's declaring the type, but not the name. So that's the cool part about that. Hey, Seb, awesome, thanks for the bits. Much appreciated. Okay, so hopefully that answered your question, James. Let's see. Awesome, thank you for answering. So then, if I learn C#, will I be able to jump into .NET and .NET Core? Yes, Seb, if you know .NET, if you know C#, .NET and .NET Core is basically just the environment in which C# is usually run, is the best way to answer that. And sure, you'd love to see a video you mentioned if you do find it. Oh, yeah. I will attempt to find that at some point. It'll be a good one. 7 to 0 when it starts, I set the reminders. Sounds good, Seb. I will catch you on those dates. So we are less than 48 hours away from our first one, so very exciting. Okay. So let me delete that foo creation thing that I did there. And I'm guessing Zoo Home? Welcome, thanks for following. And hopefully everybody's enjoying that. Let's see, so get settings. This takes in some kind of a type. So let's try currency update. And what does this return? Ah, I get it. Okay, so this has to be a type of settings. Okay, so this would be like currency settings. So let's take a look. So we're going to do a folder of settings. And in here, I'm going to create a class called currency settings. And then we're going to give this a property that's an integer. And we're going to say interval in minutes. And prop int coins received per interval. Coins per interval. Interval in minutes, coins per interval. There we go. That is a nice simple settings class that we are now going to say currency settings right there. This is a, whoops. Here's what I want to do with this. I want to make this a field, so I'm going to extract out a field, and we're going to call this currency settings. Make it read-only, please. There we go. Okay, so currency settings dot interval in minutes. It's the value that it needs. So now the currency generator needs this as well. So that actually makes me wonder if maybe we shouldn't just do currency settings instead of getting it twice. So we're going to make a read-only field called currency settings. So update currencies right here, and we're going to say coins per interval. So now what I want to do here is actually make this come in through the constructor as well. So instead of a settings factory, we're going to take in a currency settings, and it's going to be currency settings without an underscore. Going to do that. We no longer need the settings factory because we're actually just going to get our own settings each time. And instead of actually having interval in minutes as its own property, we're just going to use the settings now. So settings dot interval in minutes. So that's a little nicer. Cleaned up. Now what I need to do is in our startup, we need to actually get these settings because this isn't going to wire up now. So let's go to our startup method. Inside of our configuration, let me see what we did with settings factory real fast. Setup database, settings factory, startup, add singleton, settings factory. Andy from Lithuania, hey, welcome back. Create default settings if needed for that one. Okay, cool, yes. Create default settings if needed for currency settings. Which, if I remember correctly, yeah, I did just set them. Perfect. So now that means if I go in here, I can actually just set these values to 1. So this is where I put the default values, which means that we set these and then we put them in the database. So once they're in the database, they could get changed. So we haven't written the pages to change them yet, but if someone really wanted to, they could just go into their database and make the modification. So now that we have that setting, let's go take a look at... so that creates those in the settings factory. That's perfect. Perfect. Now we need to find out where else this settings factory was used. So get settings. Get command, getting settings, roulette command. Okay, so it was doing it inside the command. So we did it in here. Okay. Well, I guess I'll do the same thing then. For now. So here's what we will do. We're going to go back to currency update. So I told it to take in one of these, but we're not going to do that. We are going to actually have it take in an iSettings factory, which is fine. And then the settings factory dot get settings currency settings is what we're actually going to set there, which is... That's alright. And now in the currency generator, we're going to do the same thing. It'll take in a settings factory, and we'll say settings factory dot get settings currency settings. And there we go. Not ideal, but not bad either. Whoop, something's failing. Interval in minutes. Ah! Because we changed the type. What's the first parameter? The currency generator. And then a settings factory. So now in this one, need that, and this is going to come out as an object. Settings factory, which that is going to go away, and then we're going to say comma settings factory dot object. See how many of those. I think this stream is a bit unstable. Is it? Oh, no, so the 720p option is the only one because we're only a Twitch affiliate, not a Twitch partner. So, it's up to Twitch to sometimes come by. That's what gives you those options. So, essentially, if Twitch has the extra resources, they will allow for different options on our stream. It could be that Twitch is overloaded right now with too many other things, and so they don't have the resources to help us out with the varying options to be able to like auto-adjust your stream quality. But I'm not getting any dropped frames on my end, and I'm going at a little over 5 megs a second on this feed. So that's what it says right now. So that should easily be able to handle 720p. So, somewhere on the internet it's messing up, if that's what you're getting. Might be Twitch, might be just the internet wherever you are. It's hard for me to say for certain. Hopefully it clears up, though. Oh, yeah, so Seb, the, okay, 15-second delay sounds like you want to refresh. But, Seb, you could be right. So, this is actually Summer Games Done Quick is going on right now. So that's one of the big events that's going on, which is actually one that I watch. For anyone who likes speedrunning, which means finishing games as fast as you can. And that includes glitches and things like that, and whatever they can make work. It's very fun. Okay, let's jump to these. So, new mock user collection, currency generator, mock objects. Okay, so this one needs new mock I settings factory object. Currency generator. So on these, I'm just mocking out the settings factory so that it works. Currency update doesn't have this anymore. Okay, I will make it have it then. That's fine. So here's what we're going to do. Oh, these are in the wrong spot. I really need to fix up this. This is just going to be a pass-through that is just going to give us underscore currency settings, interval in minutes. So, there we go. Seb the Third. Alright, wasn't aware there's an event, but saw an unusual number of people watching. Glad to hear it, Seb the Third. Yeah. No, we don't have any control of when Twitch decides to do their big events or anything like that. But it's a good event, that one. Nope. This is new mock I settings factory. So essentially in our tests we need to have those so that it doesn't actually try to call into the database to get those settings. So we have some settings that come from our app settings.json file and some that are coming from the database. In the long term, We want the majority of this type of setting to come from the database because that's easier for us to update. So, alright, let's go ahead and kill the bot for now, even though it just came into the chat. So we're going to do that. And now, new window onto the screen. We're going to load this. Total refresh. There we go. Okay, the bot should have just said hi in chat. It did. Hello, bot. Welcome. So I've got some coins. I'm gonna play a game of Hangman. Gonna check my coins again. Still the same. Blub's got coins. Thank you for checking, Blub. I am gonna lose this. Oh, I know it. Hey, Blub got it. Yep. Good job, Blub. Okay, I still have coins. $8991, 8989. Huh, I should have gotten more coins than that. Looks like it gave me 2 coins. I think I should have gotten more coins. Look, I gained a coin. You see that? I gained a coin. My coins went up by 1. So that means the coins are working. Yeah, buddy. Woohoo! We call that a win right there. And I just had a Blizzard employee message me on Discord and tell me about the new hero in Overwatch. I don't know if anybody here plays Overwatch. I find that funny. Yes, I am saying it was a Blizzard employee because he is. He's also just an old friend and he's in the chat sometimes, but you guys didn't know that. Oh, did you, Blub? Cool. I think that's the one that just got linked to me. Whoa! Whoa! Hey, you weren't supposed to talk when I said that. Now everybody knows who I was talking about. It's your own fault now. You caused it. I didn't say a thing. I didn't say. Also, welcome. Hey, how's it going? To be honest, I actually didn't know he was in here. Alright, I assume he is excited about that. I think it's going to be fun. I need to check it out, but I'm obviously on stream, so I don't watch videos, even ones from official sources, while I'm on stream. I will commit this. Change to database settings for currency updates. Update that. Now I'm going to run my tests. And yes, I am willing to commit without running the tests, as long as it's committing locally. I don't mind too much. Okay. Ah, good. Broken test. Not surprising. Because all we did was replace it with a thing that doesn't really do much. That object thing that we did. Ah, yeah, see? Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Set next runtime. So at this line, we have a null reference. Because settings interval is null. So because we didn't actually get our settings, that's why. So here's how we fix that. So we mocked out this object right here. We did it here as well. We just need to tell it what to return. And I don't want to call it mock. Why would I want to call it mock? Settings factory. So here's what I have to do. I have to tell this thing that I want the default value. Setup. Get settings of type currency settings. So when someone calls this, just return new currency settings. It would really help if I typed that better. Okay, so we're just going to do this in each spot where this failed. That test got ugly. I need to fix it. It's really bad. I really need to fix it. Maybe I'll get up the nerve to do it right now. Okay, let's run all the tests again, but now they should pass, and then we really should refactor those. Green! There we go. Fix the mocked tests. Okay, fantastic. Alright, so now the thing that I want to fix, because this actually is working, and we actually have our currency update running, is I want to change it so that it doesn't have to do this weird expression thing. So this explanation that Blub has here makes it work, but the problem is the fact that we have to explain this means that people aren't going to understand what is going on here. So we should absolutely change up our code to make it a little bit easier to read. The explanation's great, though. It's exactly what's going on here. Okay. So is it Minixoric or Minezoric? Wondered on the name, but hello, greetings. So we put this in here, and we run this expression, and this. So this is invoke action based on the ID, but I actually want to try this. Instead of expression, I just want to say currency update dot action, which doesn't exist yet, but let's go to the currency update. So remember, I added those interfaces, but I didn't actually complete them. Let's call this an automation item. This is an I interval action. No, an I interval, and I automated action. Automated item, automated action, automated in an interval. There we go. So I have action and interval time span that I'm going to move up here. So we have those here. Now the interval time span needs to get set in our constructor. Oh, it's actually based on this. So here's what we're going to do. When we get these settings, I want to say equals new time span, and I'm going to say currency settings dot except that's not actually how I want to do it. I want to do time span dot from minutes. There we go. Time span from minutes, I interval minutes. There we go. Okay, great. So now instead of so settings could just be that. And actually, I realize if I do that, I'm now relying on this having the value. So what I'm going to do is this. There we go. Now my action, I actually want this to be an expression of action. Isn't that what we want it to be, an expression of an action? Seb, essentially an expression so expressions are all over C#, so this is an expression, for example. And the idea is that I don't just want, so I want it to be like an actual like piece of functionality. This almost could be a method, but it's not quite. Hang on, let me do this for now. Let me see what it does with it. Rah! Currency generator, update currency, and then set next runtime. No. An expression is actually just a piece of functionality. So an expression in C# is kind of like a piece that of your code. So expressions and statements are usually what I'm having to explain the difference between in C#. So an expression could end up having a value that is some kind of type. So it could be a string, it could be a Boolean, but it really is an expression. It just happens that the result of the expression sometimes also has a value. So this expression is one of these. Expression of an action. Action, that. Okay. So we're not going to have any parameters for it. So that's why it needs to be an action here. So we have an action that is a current. So yeah, Blub. Hangfire did merge that pull request we sent in the last stream. They were quick about that. I was impressed. Isn't that funny? I thought it was great. I was glad they did that. So seriously though, like, if that doesn't give people confidence in the ability to send in a pull request to a project, I don't know what will. I mean, you saw how quickly I was just like, oh, hey, there's a problem here. Let's just send them this pull request. So, like, seriously, do that with projects. Like, do that with ours. Do that with any open source project. Worst case scenario, they say like, oh no, we only take things from, you know, so and so, or oh, you need to document what that was. But it was such a simple thing. I'm like, here, have the fix. And if they want to go and do it themselves differently than I did, that's fine. But at least now they know about it, and hey, they might just merge it in. So, pretty easy. Should hopefully give all of you confidence to actually help out on open source projects. And if you didn't catch that, you can check out the video of our stream that was not yesterday but Tuesday in the videos section here on Twitch. Or if you're on YouTube, there's probably a link somewhere around there for it as well, because all these videos will eventually be out there also. So, let me go ahead and run this again. Oh, build errors, hang on. So, let me do this. Let me comment this out. Create property action. What's it want to be? It wants it to be this. Yeah, see? It wants it to be what I was trying to make. I don't know why it won't let me have this. Action cannot implement property interface. Type should be system.action. What is it smoking? Like, seriously. That should totally work. Property action cannot implement property from interface. Oh, wait, hang on. That's talking about this. Oh, yeah. Whoops, that's my bad. At which point the other ones will break, but that's fine if that makes this one work. Okay, that's all it was complaining about. Well, that's silly. Okay, so let's try that. So it might blow up because of this right here, because it's not going to know how to create my currency generator, but that's something we're going to need to figure out anyway. So if that comes up, we need to fix it. But as a simpler one, this is the other interval one. So let's go to the other one of these. That's the automated message. So this one, where's its action piece? Oh, it doesn't have an action. Right, no. My bad. Hang on. I wanted automated action. One-time callback action. An expression of type action called action. And action to call needs to be an expression of type action. Action to call. So notice I can't just call this anymore. So an expression and an action are not quite the same. So notice that this has a bunch of properties on it. So what I can do is I can compile it, which, yes, I'm not kidding, it's called compile it. And, what is that, FLTS? Welcome, thanks for following. And then I can invoke the method. So that's the hilarity, is like, welcome to an expression. Works a little bit differently than an action. Okay, so now that we've got that going, let's jump over to our Hangfire automation system. So it takes action, and then in this one, so this was one-time callback action. Instead of expression, let's try action. Nothing is using this anymore, which means nothing is using this anymore. And I don't think anything's using this anymore. And nothing should be calling this anymore now either. Now this is the one I might have to back out. If we can't quite make it work. But I think I may have managed to simplify this beyond what we need. So notice that in our fake, we weren't calling this. That's because it's really not a significant part of the type. You can tell because even in our test code, we weren't actually testing that piece. So that's actually a really good indicator that you need to change your interface, is when you test something differently than how you run it. That's a really good indicator that you didn't quite get the interface right. And in this case, our interface was good for the original version, but as soon as we were running in a web application instead of a console application, that's where we needed to make our change. So let's try this. I don't have my current expectation is that this will not work, and the reason I think this is that I don't think it's going to be able to resolve our currency update type's dependency on the currency generator. So we have a class that creates currency for everybody while they're sitting around in chat, and that is actually the piece that I don't think is going to work. But just to be certain that everything works the way I expect, I am going to delete the recurring jobs and start this over again, because I want to make sure that the bot actually runs with a whole new fresh set of... So, notice bot just showed up and left. I want to make sure that the Hangfire jobs that we register are entirely new and running. So let's take a look at what we get here. And for anybody who's in chat, if I'm ever doing stuff that is confusing, or I'm going a little bit too fast, or you have a question about anything I'm doing, feel free to shout it out. We are here to have fun. Hey, I'm guessing Baumelite? Welcome, thank you for the Twitch Prime subscription, much appreciated. Please make sure to enjoy your DevChatter hype emotes that you get, and anybody else that has them, make sure to spam them in chat right now, because we have a new sub in here. So that's awesome. Bot have been super great supporting it, top baller state. Hey! Thank you for the help with the hype there, Rubik's. Always some... Yes, exactly. They are fun stuff. You can use those all over Twitch now. And I will tell you, when we get to partner, and I do mean when we get there, we will be getting some awesome new emotes as well. And actually, since your sub's going to last a month, so in 2 weeks, Twitch is actually going to let affiliates have custom sub icons. So instead of the star next to your name here in the chat, you're actually going to have something else that I've got the artist working on. So that should be fun. Let's find out if this code actually works, though. There's the big question. So we have 2 recurring jobs. One of them is the automated message. The other one is currency update. So that's what we expect. Let's try running coins. So, oh, 9,000 coins. I wonder if we can remember that number. And it has not sent the automated message yet. So we'll see it in chat. It will probably remind everybody to click the follow button up in the top of the screen. Next, so it's next going to execute in 11 minutes. So we won't see that one happen anytime soon. But it looks like this might have just run. So let's take a look. Coins, ooh, 9,000, not 9,001. So I don't think the update currency is actually the currency update. I don't think that one's working right. So it's supposed to run in a few seconds. Oh, actually no. It is working. Well, nifty. Look at that. That is fantastic. About all I can say to that is, what, this one? Hey, that was sweet. I love it when code works. Alright, so simplify the automated action system. There we go. That is great. So, look at that. The automated action system is almost down under 50 lines again. That is actually really cool. Am I getting more coins? No longer need that. We're not using that dictionary anymore. Adding action let's say attempting to add And the bot's gonna keep on arriving because I keep saving it. Let me kill it. Yeah, the bot gets a little confused when I'm messing around with the project, I'm killing and the bot is restarting because the website's running. So essentially, like, the website is restarting. So because it is running as the background of the site, anytime I cause a site restart, the bot will leave and rejoin. So that's actually what's causing that message there, Blub. It's kind of weird. Remove unused dictionary and add in basic logging message. Okay. I think now, Blub, we might be ready to push this one out and take a look at it. It's going to be a bigger change than what we were expecting, but this adjusts all the automation stuff. So we're going to put this in your pull request. Another vacancy, mosquitoes. What you talking about, James? Explain. Alright, I'm gonna get the bot running again. Oh, you have bugs coming in your room. Well, that's no fun. Do you have windows? Close your windows. If you can, unless it's too warm if you close your windows. I don't know how the temperature or anything is out there. Okay, so the bot should be running. Just as a reminder, the place that we're at, that we actually push these changes, is actually out to GitHub. So all the code that we do here on the channel is actually pushed out to GitHub on a regular basis. That includes the special streams that we're going to be doing this weekend. Yes, for anyone who just showed up, I do want to make sure that I tell everybody about the special streams that we're doing. We're going to do some special event streams here on DevChatter. And those streams are actually our Learn to Code series. So we are actually going to be doing some like beginner level programming stuff. So if you're an early programmer or you're just new to C#, or if you know someone who is or is even interested in learning program right from the start, this is the thing that you're going to want to show up for. Exactly. Yeah, James. So I had a bunch of people that were asking me to do some kind of beginner level thing. So I was like, you know what? We're actually just going to do that. We're going to start a series. So I set up a Learn to Code series here. These are the dates that we're going to be doing them. We'll probably add more, especially if there's a good reception to them. What we're actually going to be setting up is we're going to have everybody install VS Code. So this afternoon, this evening, sometime after I'm done with the stream, I'm actually going to record the basic instructions for getting set up and an intro to our Learn to Code stuff that I will make available to everybody. I'm going to record a video and upload it. So that we can essentially get everybody set up to be able to do the exercises. It's going to be simple. We're running in VS Code. VS Code is free. Wait, what? What you talking about, Ace Flames here? James, I really appreciate that. That is a very nice compliment. Yeah, so the goal is that we're actually going to do learning to program exercises. So we're going to write simple programs together. We're going to start from scratch every time. So everything is going to be very easy. So the video will be uploaded to Twitch. Balmy, this video is actually going to be uploaded to both Twitch and to YouTube. So if anyone is in here... Oh, and James is on the ball. Man, nice job. So... we do have a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel. So the YouTube channel primarily is just an archive of what we record on Twitch. But I do expect that I will put some videos there that were never on Twitch. And so if we do have just general videos that we want to put somewhere, they will likely go up there as well. And anybody else who is interested, please go ahead and click the subscribe button in YouTube or hit the follow button here. And you will get notified when we go live if you if you follow the Twitch channel, and if you subscribe to YouTube, you'll know each time one of our videos ends up getting archived over there. And I just have them periodically going over there. I try to make sure that there's only one place for any given video, whether it's on Twitch or on YouTube, so that you don't find both sets in both places. So when they expire from Twitch, I put them on YouTube, and that's like our long-term archive then. So hopefully all that makes sense. So the stuff that we're going to focus on in the beginning, I'm going to be talking primarily about the basics of the language, C#, and using VS Code and getting it set up. But then I am also... oh, yeah, you could be right. Yeah, 2 minutes has passed. We'll have to look into that one, guys. But the types of things that... And welcome, Christoy0. Thanks for following. Much appreciated. So the things that we're going to cover in the first one, we're going to be doing some simple programs using write lines, read lines. It's going to be console application stuff in the beginning. We're going to talk about strings, what they are, how to use them, what some of the limitations are. Now, because C# has advanced so much and we have made a lot of improvements to the string classes even recently, even within the past year, I am going to be talking about strings as they are right now. So even if you are someone that's been using C# for years, I'm going to be talking about the language as it is today, not as it was like, 15 years ago. So you might also pick up stuff like that. So if you are not a beginner developer, I still recommend you show up. We're going to be talking about if and else statements there. I might also cover switches. We'll see, same kind of concept, and we're going to be talking about all the various different types of loops. So that's the stuff I want to cover this Saturday. We'll see how long it takes. This is obviously going to be the first one in the series. So if it turns out that we make it through half the stuff, or maybe I need to add more, that's totally fine. We'll tweak it and adjust it. This will be the first one, and then later ones I'll have a better idea of how much we can actually cover, because I am going to try to go at a pace where you can all code along with us. So it's not just going to be me. I mean, on the stream it'll just be me typing up here, but ideally everybody has either I'm shifted off to the side, and you might do one of these where you stuff me in the corner, and then, you have your code down here that you're typing, or you might be switching back and forth between the windows. You might put me on one side and the code on the other. It's up to you. But that's the idea, is that we're going to do some of that so that, it's really follow-along type stuff. And I do expect that it won't take that many streams before I'm having you do some things that are pretty interesting, even though none of the steps are all that complicated. So there are some really cool programs that we can build that don't have the complex structure. So a lot of what I do here is focused on full application development, but these I want to focus more on the language and the basics of programming. So if you also want to get back to basics, say learning more about classes, methods, types, things like that, and the way that they work in a language, we will eventually be covering that type of content there as well. So hopefully I see you all on Saturday, because that should be a good one. In addition, the other thing that I want to make sure that I tell you all about, why is that? Why did that not autocomplete? In our stream info section, so this is actually where this came from. So 11 days ago I said, hey, I was going to make this Learn to Program series. And that is over on our stream info site. So if you are... oh, yeah, sure. Actually, is it here? That might get you there. Try that link. Looks like it worked for me. Anyway, so see, Andy from Lithuania, isn't that nice? I put that command in the bot. So the other things I want to talk about. So, as I said, we have that stream coming up. I am talking to a couple of guests. I want to get some pair programmers on the stream. It's been a little while since I've had one. And my goal has been to try and have at least one pair programmer a week. So I am going to make sure that we get someone in here pretty soon. I've got some people I'm talking with. And I might pull in a pair programmer for one of our Learn to Code series also. So I'm open to getting pair programmers for our Learn to Code series, or for our programming exercises and katas that we do, and obviously for our regular ones as well. And welcome, Max. Thank you for following. Hopefully that means you're enjoying the stream. Yeah, Conrad, I really appreciate that. Yeah, so that is actually exactly what we go for here, is we add a comment. whenever our code isn't clear. So there's some comments, but it's rare. The reason being that our general stance is that if you had to write a comment, your code probably wasn't clear enough. So I will add comments, and then my goal becomes, how do I make the code clear enough to get rid of the comment? Yes, exactly. And I can tell you, I also don't like a lot of the code that we have in there. But again, like, none of it's, you know, there's nothing that I feel terrible about. But I think that's how all programmers feel, is we look at a lot of our code and we always see how much better any of it could be. So the goal is always to make it good enough. And then the other thing that I want to remind people, and I have to remind myself of this too, is that a lot of the code that that I write on stream, I understand I'm doing it live on a stream with a time limit and an audience that I'm talking to, so my brain's always kind of like, I still know all my stuff, but it's a little garbled while I try to talk to you guys. And so like sometimes I can't think of the obvious solution, because a lot of times to come up with the obvious solution to a problem, you need to sit and think for a minute, which I don't get the chance to do as much on stream, because too often I'm trying to talk to you guys about it. And Andy, yes, Visual Studio Community Edition will work. So if you're running VS Code or Community Edition, you could run them both. But the nice thing about VS Code, yes, as Conrad said, the nice thing about VS Code is it's super lightweight. So you can actually just install it. It's an editor you can have alongside of Visual Studio. So it's just a file. It is a simpler editor. It's not like a full-blown Visual Studio. So that's why I call it VS Code, not Visual Studio Code, because if I call it Visual Studio Code, you're thinking big monolithic thing. But no. It is lightweight. Yeah, no, that is no problem. I know a lot of people that keep me around in the background. That's actually why whenever I'm doing something big, I usually try and get people to just like, hey, watch this, and like try and make sure everybody's paying attention for that, because I know a lot of people just listen for things that sound interesting and then they'll pay attention and then go back to working, because I know a lot of developers, especially in the US, work during the daytime here, so a lot of them are at work. Mangik6, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, so I apologize if I totally butchered that. Hey man, you have a question. A project in C#, you're leading a Swiss company is looking for a C# developer for a new software department. This department will develop a sales platform to watch and jewelry research. What technology you think we would use for a backend? I mean, so right now, anybody starting any new project using C#, I would recommend, especially for a website, I would recommend using ASP.NET Core. That is definitely hey, Polly, welcome. So ASP.NET Core 2.1 is what I would recommend you start with. Use Razor Pages. It is the latest and greatest for C#, .NET, and the web platform. It is lightning fast, it is lightweight, it is easy to use. It makes a lot of sense. It's going to be here for the long haul. So if you're figuring out what your backend server should be, that is an easy recommendation for me to make. So I would recommend that to anybody, regardless of what area you're going to be working on. So, is our bot still running? If so, a couple of things. Anybody here who is going to be around this Saturday, just keep an eye out. Make sure you follow my YouTube channel and my Twitch, and you will get notified when I put my video up. So I'm going to put an instructional video. I'm going to tweet it. I'm going to link it. I'm going to make sure that everybody gets the instructions for what to do at setup. And what I might do is run my like 5-minute setup video before we get started. So on Saturday, I will make sure that I have that instruction, because we're going to do that Learn to Code series this Saturday. And if you want to make sure that you've got that set up, just keep your eyes peeled for when I have that instruction video. It's pretty easy to set up. I'm basically just going to explain how to install VS Code, which is a pretty simple download and things like that. But I am hoping that you can all let other people know as well that we're going to have that. And so, as I said, this Saturday, we're going to be doing this, and you'll need to have VS Code set up and running in order to do it. I'm not going to have us running GitHub or anything like that. We're just going to make new files and just run them locally, so should be good. And then Okay, so your question of why ASP.NET Core over full framework ASP.NET. So I have to give a quick explanation for that. So ASP.NET Core is both the name of the current style of ASP.NET, that's current ASP.NET, is ASP.NET Core. Now when you create an ASP.NET Core site, it could have a dependency on .NET Core, or it can have a dependency on the full .NET framework, and either one is actually valid. I recommend, if you're going this route, to use .NET Core with ASP.NET Core, but you do not have to. You can actually build ASP.NET Core against the full framework. If you want to go that route, that's fine. I actually have a project that I'm working on where we have to use the full framework because we depend on some libraries that need the full framework. So our ASP.NET Core website depends on .NET framework. However, for every single web project I do except that one, I use ASP.NET Core depending on the .NET Core framework. And the reason is .NET Core is lighter weight, it is faster, and it is oh so much nicer. It runs on Linux, it runs on Windows, it runs on Mac. So if I decide that I need to run this on a Linux server, it works just fine. If I have a developer that uses a Mac and they want to work on this project, they can open up VS Code, they can run Visual Studio for Mac, and they can work on this project. They can run it. Whereas they otherwise have to. Yes, exactly, Andy. It is a better argument. It's letting you know my opinion and stance from having looked at this, that I think it's great. It's not that alone isn't the reason. Okay, if you look at Microsoft's current product strategies, ASP.NET will be dropped at some point. Conrad Reuter, so they are going to keep it around for some time, and Microsoft keeps them alive for a long time, so you can safely still use them, but the community is going to move on. And if you want to stay with the community, then that means that you need to be on the latest for Microsoft tech. Seb, sorry for this asked before, but I was AFK. What is the difference between .NET and ASP.NET? I may have just answered that, Seb. So ASP.NET just means it's the web framework, is the short answer to that, if I didn't get that. Yeah, Conrad's got the answer. .NET is a platform framework, whatever you want to call it, for running C#, F#, and any other common language runtime languages. And ASP.NET's the web framework. Yep. So Mac and VS 17, I can create command line .NET framework and it runs properly. How come? You're running Windows on that Mac. Is that correct, or you mean you're running? So .NET Core runs on Mac OS. So are you sure that you're not creating a .NET Core command line? It's that, or what you're doing is you're running Mono, which is slightly different. And it's not technically the .NET framework, it's the Linux version of it. So, okay, so ASP.NET lets you use C# on the web. No, Seb. So ASP.NET is the backend code that serves the pages to the browser. So ASP.NET is the server one, yeah. And there is a new thing coming out that is called Blazor. It is an experiment from Microsoft, and it is actually C# running in your browser. So Blazor is C# instead of JavaScript in your browser. And Baumilit, and please tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's hard for me to describe. Yeah, don't worry. Many people here, English is not their native language, so just do your best with it, and if we're not figuring it out, we'll work with you to try to figure out what you said. Do you know any keywords to look for if I want to run a .NET web app that can open a Microsoft Office document from a server, not download it, just open it through the client web app, edit on the server via your local message, and save it after editing to the server? Baumi, Office 365, but what you're talking about is I do not know of a tool that will let you do that. That's a big one. Hang on, Conrad got his messages deleted for something. Did he actually link, or was it not? Oh, and I'm gonna guess Magus. Welcome, thanks for following. Much appreciated. Microsoft Excel Interop API. Yeah, Conrad's right. So if you want to do the server-side stuff actually modifying Office files, there's Office Interop is actually the library that you can use for that. And by the way, that's .NET Framework only. So remember I told you one of my web projects is not using .NET Core and is using .NET Full Framework? That's actually why. We are depending on that. Or if you want to make your life simpler, ASP is like Tomcat or an Express server. No, not exactly, Seb. And don't worry about the questions. It'd be different from that, I think. Yeah, as Greendorf says, .NET Framework is the Windows C# runtime, and .NET Core is the small cross-platform runtime. Mono is the older one. Yep. I have an explanation that I often give for .NET Standard, Greendorf. I need to find the old video where I explained what .NET Standard is. It was not a link, it was the name of the library. Yeah, exactly. So Nightbot gets a little confused and thinks things are links. No problem, everybody. I'm glad to answer I think even in the title of this stream it says that I'll be answering questions, so hopefully I answered a good amount of questions for you guys. But either way, I do want to mention a couple of things. Don't forget to check out our code on GitHub. And, hey, Greendorf, awesome! Yes! Check out our Discord, thank you. Awesome, Balmy. Balmy Leet, got it. So check out our Discord. If you want to chat with us outside the stream, that is actually the place to do it. So, Discord, if you don't know, is a chat application that's commonly used by gamers and Twitch streamers. And so we have a Discord as a place where you can chat with us. If you want to catch any of our old videos, you can find them either in the video section here on Twitch, or you can go to our YouTube channel. And if you could, I would really appreciate it if people subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I'm trying to get enough subscribers on the YouTube channel to update the URL on that, because that URL that I just posted in there is crappy and I want to make it better. What other things do I want to talk about? Other than that, reminder that our next stream is on Saturday, and this is our UTC schedule, and if you want to find out what it is in my time zone, I am at UTC -4, so that is what it is in my time zone. And then say if you are in Germany, then you are in Central European summertime, and that is your time zone. So you can ask our bot for the schedule, or alternately you can scroll down below if you're watching this on the Twitch website, and you'll see when our schedule is to catch our next stream, which should be on Saturday. So hopefully all of you enjoyed the stream we did today. I am going to wrap up now because I have some stuff I got to do, so this is my deadline for today. I believe, if you're still hanging out here for a second, we've been live for about 3.5 hours, so it was a good stream. I really appreciate everybody for being here. I love all the support that you all get. So, I want to thank everybody for following and everything like that. For the subscription from Balmy, and the raid from C# Fritz, Seb for the 10 biddies, and everybody else for chatting, asking questions, and generally making the stream fun. So I really appreciate it. And don't worry, James, we'll be back on Saturday. So I'm glad you're all here. And thank you for the biddies, Seb, much appreciated. I will see you all next time. So have a great day. Don't worry, James. It's not even 48 hours now. It's like 45.5 hours or something like that. But I probably mathed that wrong because I'm not really thinking about it. No, it's like 41.5. So anyway, bye everybody. Happy coding. Enjoy your weekend.